Cheers, Jamie, and thank you for having me for this. So yeah, I'm Steven. I work at Tech Games in Dundee. I also kind of founded a small indie studio called Insert Imagination, and in addition to that, I started the Scott Rainbow Dev Group, which is a group dedicated to LGBT plus allies in game development in Scotland, whether they're like students or indie devs or AAA devs. And the idea is just to encourage diversity within the Scottish games industry. As part of that, I decided to run a game jam, which was a very on the spot kind of decision. It was kind of made on a train on the way home one day. I was just like, okay, I should really do a game jam, get people together with something, and it all just kind of escalated really quickly from there. So I organised Rainbow Game Jam 16. It was a 2-week game jam that was kind of advertised on a small but completely diverse global kind of scale. We had, in the end, 31 entries from several different continents, including like Brazil, Europe, Spain, stuff like that, which was really exciting for me. In addition to that, we raised nearly £4,000 worth of prizes from sponsors, which was just a huge, unexpected effort. A lot of it was just kind of like contacting people and being in touch and just surprisingly finding out the amount of people who just said, yeah, just take all this stuff. So what I'm going to really talk about is a bit of a post-mortem and things that I've learned about running the jam and things I'd like to do differently, and what I would like to take forward in running other events similar to this and potentially running other game jams. And hopefully if anyone's interested in this kind of stuff, they can take note of it. And if you want to know anything more about Rainbow Jam or Scott Rainbow Dev or running your own jam, I'm more than willing to help anyone. So yeah, I'm going to try and kick this off. So the first note that I kind of got written is plan early. I did all of the planning for Rainbow Jam in 5 weeks, between 5 weeks between the start date and me actually going, I should do a game jam. So all I did initially was just kind of pick some dates and set a really small scope. What I originally wanted was just a small local Scottish-based event, do a game jam, maybe over a weekend. I didn't intend to make it 2 weeks long, and that was just to kind of encourage this Scott Rainbow Game Dev group to kind of collaborate and make a game or several games within the group and kind of show those off. I started speaking to sponsors and stuff like that, and it very quickly escalated into something that was a lot bigger than what I intended it to be initially, but I'm really thankful for in the end. So it became quite clear that a weekend, from my point of view, was not going to be long enough for this kind of game jam. I wanted something that could be as accessible to as many people as possible. So we stretched it over 2 weeks and 2 days. It was 3 weekends because I wanted to be able to take part, and I was at a wedding for the first weekend. So it was purely just selfish reasons, which was great. But being able to kind of make that extended kind of period was really helpful. It meant that people had a 2-week period to develop a game, but it meant there was a challenge for people who wanted to do this kind of like 48-hour thing. They could start at any kind of point within this 2-week gap. So it meant it was a lot more accessible for people who worked and people who don't, and in education who don't necessarily have the time to just crunch for 48 hours. It meant there was this long period of time that people were able to develop for. Contacting sponsors was really fun. They were so helpful and just so willing to be involved, and you have this fear of contacting people and sending emails like, oh, I don't want to send emails to people, I don't want to do it, they're just going to say no and reject us. But just the amount of stuff that was just amazing. I think it was Harmonix that really caught us off guard. I sent a tweet to a guy on Twitter, went away for lunch and came back and had like £600 worth of prizes in my inbox. I'm just like, why are people actually giving this to me? Like, why are people just trusting me with this? I haven't stole anything yet, so damn it. But it was just such a kind of, it was really interesting to see how eager people were to kind of be involved and to kind of promote the event. As we're seeing, like, diversity is becoming a bigger issue within the industry, and just seeing companies want to be engaged in that kind of conversation was really exciting, and to be able to put their name on it, I am supporting this event. It was really quite uplifting. I thought I was going to have to like fight and beg and struggle for companies to kind of get this kind of attention, but they were just really great and really helpful. So I really can't thank the sponsors for Rainbow Jam enough. Something that happened very early on was opening the jam up from this initial kind of Scotland-based LGBT jam to just a global jam for diversity. That happened through talking with certain IGDA groups, IGDA Scotland and the IGDA LGBT group, because they were wanting to plan a game jam. They're just like, yeah, sure, we'll just open this up and we can both plan off with each other and stuff like that. And it really kind of opened the scope up for the jam. It meant that it wasn't just going to be, I'm trying to think how I'm wanting to phrase this. It meant it wasn't just about Scotland, which is kind of weird because a lot of the things that made me want to start the Scottish Rainbow Game Dev group was because I felt like there wasn't enough about diversity within Scotland, but then doing the game jam, not being about diversity in Scotland, felt really counterintuitive initially, and I was kind of a bit hesitant. But it's still kind of been a big promotion for the Scott Rainbow Dev group as a whole. It's been like, this group has promoted this game jam to celebrate diversity in the industry, because it's not just about Scotland as an industry, it's about the whole game industry. It's about the whole kind of country and the whole continent, the whole damn thing. So it's really great to see that people were really eager from across lots of different backgrounds and natures and stuff like that, and created a really good community. And that kind of feeds quite nicely into the creation of the community. Someone mentioned really earlier on that they thought it would be a good idea to have a community and have like jam sites and stuff like that. And I tried to get jam sites together and I don't think anyone used them. So nobody went to the ones in Dundee that were kind of set up, and nobody went to the ones in Glasgow that were set up. But a lot of people used a Discord server that is set up. So that was constantly running for the jam, and I'd check it like every couple of hours at work, and it'd be like hundreds of comments from people all like sharing their work and sharing their ideas and collaborating and stuff like that, which was really fantastic to see. Just something simple. I'd never used Discord before, so it was really nice to see this kind of community all kind of engaging with each other and all embracing each other. And I've had several comments from some people saying it was really nice to have that, because you see things like Ludum Dare, and they're quite exclusive of like other people. You'll spend like a weekend like in your bedroom making a game, and that's it. You'll maybe talk to people on Skype or go get a sandwich or something like that, but it's there's not really a community behind it. So it was really nice to be able to actually have a bit of a community and have people engaging with each other and all kind of like riffing ideas off of each other. Again, it was really nice to see people's progress over the 2 weeks as well, because I thought that people would just kind of like trail off in the first week and I wouldn't really see many entries. But I think that community, having people talk to each other, they were all encouraging each other on the way and keeping ideas flowing and stuff like that, which meant that what looked like an initial kind of, I think I had 12 was the number in my head at the start of how many games I thought was going to be entered, quickly escalated to like 31 games, not including maybe half a dozen that weren't completed by the end of the jam, actually submitted, which was really exciting to me, to see something that I thought was going to be maybe 2 people, including myself, making a game, to actually turn into a quantifiable number of people that can kind of, it made it worth it. It made it really worth it, which was really exciting. One of the biggest kind of mistakes I think I made with Rainbow Jam was the judging period. I made a 2-week judging period, kind of to give a little bit of kind of rest to myself, because I knew I was going to be stressed as hell by the end of this. And also because, again, the judges are all working in industry and they do various different things, and I can't just expect them to drop everything to judge over a weekend. That was ridiculous. So initially it was 2 weeks, and I think because I can't use the internet, accidentally made it 3 weeks. So this extended judging period lasted a bit too long, and it felt like the kind of hype in the community kind of died off a wee bit. So there were still people like really eager and really talking about it and stuff like that. But the general consensus seemed to be that there was definitely a lack of interest towards the end of the judging period. It's kind of peaked a bit as I've been trying to send out emails with Steam vouchers and stuff to people, but it definitely could have done with being a bit shorter and a bit more condensed, and definitely keep the kind of train rolling for the event. Unfortunately, Annie's here, one of the entries for the jam was a VR game, and it was really cool that you made it. I'm really sorry. But it looked like nobody got a chance to try it. I didn't want to put like stipulations on like no mobile, no VR, stuff like that, because I didn't want to create those limitations for people, because I think one of the biggest issues you get with game jams is they have these limitations where you can't do this and you can't do that, and it stifles creativity. And in a jam where I'm wanting to encourage creativity from different backgrounds and different diversities, the last thing I wanted to do was go, no, you can't do this. But in hindsight, maybe I should have. It was just really unfortunate, and the game looked really cool. But it was just a kind of unfortunate consequence of VR being quite a young kind of technology. Hopefully next year, when everybody's hooked up to their Vive kits 24/7, we'll all be able to try it then. One of the kind of things that I didn't address very well was asking for help during the jam. I kind of burned out a wee bit during the first week of the jam, and that was purely because I pretty much ran the whole thing by myself. I had a lot of kind of talks with people being like, I'll be able to help, I'll be able to help, I'll be able to help. And it was really nice to people, and people shared things on social media and stuff like that. It's really like draining having to email like hundreds of sponsors to try and get stuff from them like daily. It was like, God, just reply to my emails. So I think definitely I'd want, if I was to do this again, that would be something I'd definitely take on board. I can see why like Global Game Jam has like a committee and stuff like that, or like to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and stuff like that. Because a lot of the time I was kind of bouncing ideas off people from work and stuff like that. And obviously it's not kind of completely feasible in a workspace, especially when you're kind of trying to organise something outside of work. So it'd be something I'd really like to consider going forward with this kind of jam. Don't ever organise a jam by yourself. That's what I'm taking from that. So the last kind of thing is to kind of touch upon kind of my expectations for the jam. I really didn't know what to expect going into it, and I kind of said that a few times. As I've kind of joked, I expected like 2 entries, and it kind of just to kind of flop. Or when it came to the end of it, I expected like loads and loads of people to have worked on things, and again, nothing gets submitted, or everything's kind of weird Flappy Bird clones and stuff like that. But luckily, towards the end, it kept going, and it kept going. And it had its own kind of momentum that really kind of kept me going through it all, through the stress and the management and stuff like that. And it was really quite nice to see all of it just kind of come together. To be able to see that 31 people dedicated their time and their effort to enter this little jam that I created about diversity, and it was really nice hearing like the kind of feedback from those people now, not in a kind of braggy kind of way, but people genuinely seem to be engaged with the idea that there'll be another one, and I'm just like, another one. But it was just the idea that people want another game jam just makes it really kind of hopeful that this is something that people want, and I could quantifiably justify doing it again. It's not just a random idea at the back of my head. It's something that I actually kind of want to encourage and want to do. And game jams are great, and there's no point not doing them. It's like, yeah, go make games. So I think that kind of covers all of the awfully scribbled out points that I was trying to make. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
What's the best way people get a hold of these games? So are they online?
Yes, so all of the Rainbow Game Jam games are on itch.io, itch.io/jam/rainbowjam16. You can get it all 31 entries there. Yes.
So you got a bunch of prizes. Was the original idea to have a judging process, or did the prizes make you go, I'm going to have to give this away somehow, so we'll just do judging?
There was going to be a judging process, regardless. Once I got like a couple of things, once it was past like 1 or 2 Steam vouchers, I was like, oh yeah, there's going to have to be a judging process. I think that's something I could have done with a bit more planning. I think I only got a lot of people on board in the last kind of week of the jam. Like, I can't remember how quick I emailed you, just like, I need someone. So I got the judges involved, and they all seemed really eager, which was great. Quite a diverse background. I think what I would have liked to have done there was get the judges kind of talking a bit more. It was a very kind of, I set up like a Slack group and invited them all to it and stuff like that. And there was a bit of back and forth between a few of them, but there wasn't much of a conversation going. I also kind of set up like a Google form to kind of collate information, like how people ranked scores and stuff like that. which was fine for checking things out. But I don't know. I'm hoping that the games that won were completely reflective of what the judges' feedback was, in a numbersy kind of sense, and in like from a literal feedback kind of sense. Because I had literal feedback from some judges, and then just this kind of breakdown pie chart of data. So it was kind of getting this amalgamation of stuff together. The winners, I think, all very, very well deserved. So it's something that I think could have done with more refinement in the future. Yeah. Yes.
How did you go about gathering judges and deciding how to split the entries? Did everyone play everything?
As far as I'm aware, everyone played everything. I played everything. As far as I'm aware, you played everything. Most of the judges played everything, apart from maybe one or two. But that's just kind of like down to like technical faults with the whole Mac PC and VR game and stuff like that. Sorry. Anything else? Awesome. Thank you for having me, guys.